All right, everybody, what's going on? All right, when I'm in a shitty mood, I know how to cheer myself up pretty fast. Being a New York kid myself and growing up in Queens and being able to just mess around with my friends and make each other laugh and bust each other's balls, it's kind of what we did. So when Impractical Jokers came on the air back in 2011 and just being able to laugh with these guys and watch what they've been able to do and really watch the way that they've actually just been able to stay on the air and make people laugh for that long is an accomplishment. And now they're back with new episodes that just debuted July 11th, and they're on TBS now. And you know the Jokers, and I got James Murray on the show with me right now. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Murray. What's up, man?
Hey, buddy, how are you?
I'm doing
kind. I appreciate the kind words.
Oh, dude. I mean, come on. I just watched the White Castle thing and I was dying.
You mean the drive-through where
Yeah.
the guys control the horn?
Yeah.
Dude, I what's not on TV is we cut the ending out. We thought the audience would be too scared by what happened, but a guy came at me and I jumped out of the car and I ran away.
I saw you unbuckling your seatbelt. Like, they put you in situations, dude, when it comes to like that. I definitely want to talk about that White Castle thing because White Castle, I will tell you this. You're lucky that you did White Castle at the time of day that you did it.
Wow, I never thought about that. You're right. If we went there at like 11 o'clock at night or midnight,
I would not be talking to you right now.
No way. I would have been done.
Toast. That was hilarious. But before we jump into all that, what's really great about this for me is that back in, I think it was 2016, I had an opportunity when I was at Fandango, and you guys, I don't know if it was your first Comic-Con or not in San Diego, but I had an opportunity, and look at that one right there. Look at that shot.
Whoa!
Yeah, and you guys came into the Fandango Lounge, and we played all these games. And I remember like soon after that, and that's when I started. I was doing this movie trivia show, and I was kind of going back and forth with you because every time I came to New York, I was like, I got to get the guys there because I'm just such a big fan of what you guys did. But talk to me, dude, about the fact being on the air this long. Do you ever get tired of it? To be honestly.
No, man, I'm the best job in the world. We have an episode airing. I'm not sure when this gets broadcast, but we have an episode airing tonight. I was literally just watching it. I was eating breakfast and I was watching the episode that's going to air tonight on TV. It's top 5 of all time.
Yes.
Like the first, which I know I keep saying that like every now and then. Not always. I'll always say, oh, it's a great challenge or a great punishment or whatever. But the first challenge tonight is so outrageously funny because it's so stupid, right? Yeah. We go in like for a job interview. It's a real company, and only the CEO of the company is in on it. So he rotated different employees in HR into an interview room with us. So these employees have no idea that the room they're going into to conduct this interview has hidden cameras in it, and we're all BS. And like before Sal's turn, which starts off the episode tonight, he goes in for the interview. There's a real HR rep there, having no idea she's on TV. And right before Sal went in, I simply cut the bottom out of his chair, which he didn't know, right? So he goes in, he's in a suit, he's got his resume, and he thinks that the surprise is that his resume is bullshit, which it is. We wrote crazy things on his resume. And he goes to sit for the interview, and his ass falls there. And so the whole interview, but he can't let her know. And he's trying to hold himself up in the armrest of the chair. But, we're middle-aged men. Our muscles are going to fail.
Yeah.
And so as the interview goes on, it's like a half-hour interview, he's just sinking lower and lower into the chair until literally his ass is on the floor. He looks like, all you see is like her towering over him, and his head is just barely above the desk. He looks like a mushroom cap. But it is so stupidly funny. And then we did one last week. This will air later in the year, but we did one last week. Very simple idea. I had it like the morning of, where we have to go. We literally grab people from the streets that are walking by, say, hey, do you want to be on an interview for some BS culture spotlight? We're on camera. It's for like New York One kind of thing. And we want to put you on camera and interview you with other real New Yorkers to get your opinions on. It's all nonsense, right?
Yeah.
So come in, and they're waiting in the room is an interviewer, and Sal and the Mark, the stranger from the street.
Sure.
and of course, we're telling Sal what he has to say and answer the questions. It's really embarrassing. But unbeknownst to Sal, before his interview, I had the idea again the morning of. I had just in the room, there was like pipes on the ceiling, water pipes, things like that. And I'd arranged there to be a pipe that when we clicked a button, would just single drop would fall on his shoulder during the interview whenever we clicked the button. And it got funnier and funnier and funnier because he thought the building was just leaking,
Oh,
right?
that's hilarious.
And it's just effing funny,
Oh,
man.
I love it. I love it. I love that you guys can still do that though with each other and show how kind of close you are and know like what buttons to push, but knowing how it's gonna work. And like even the situations that they continue to put you in, like watching. I remember being a kid. I went to school in Queens, and it was at the time it was an all boys Catholic high school. It was like Oz from HBO. And I had a remote during that I would change the channel on people all the time. And I don't know how I got a hold of it, but I would change the channel and people would get so mad, but I would do it like under my arm or around the side. And I would continuously do that shit. And when you had to do that at the bar, and I don't know how you didn't die. I really don't know how half the time that these people, because that's the question I wanted to ask you, because I've just moved back to New York about a month ago. And I told my friend Chris, who is like also a major fan of the show, I told him that you were coming on, and he was like, "Oh, I love that show." And he started talking about all the episodes, and I was like, "How in New York? How is it becoming more difficult for you that in a bar like where I'm not sure where that bar was, but where people aren't recognizing you all the time?"
Well, I mean, that's a perfect example. Let me kind of back up and tell you what the punishment was for people watching at home. It just aired, I think, last week or 2 weeks ago. So it was during March Madness. All the March Madness games get broadcast on TBS and True TV and all the Turner networks. So it's in family. We got permission to use the actual game on Impractical Jokers, and it was a really important game, right? It was UConn versus I can't remember, right? Anyway, so in the sports bars, this packed sports bar with like 500 dudes there watching the game on this. The bar has this like 20, 30-foot LED screen. It's really something, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I can't go into a bar in Midtown Manhattan just looking like myself. I'll get recognized, right? So all they did was put a goatee on me, different kind of glasses, a baseball hat, and that did the trick, man. Like I looked like enough different enough that no one recognized me. And then of course, as soon as I took the goatee and the hat off, then everybody knew who I was. And all I had to do was be that jackass in the bar that had the remote and kept switching the game at critical moments. So anytime a player would go up for a 3-pointer, boom, click. Yep. And one of the cool things I would say about moving to TBS is that, Warner Brothers and Discovery merged, about a year or two ago?
Yeah.
And so we have access to all these Discovery Channel programs, right? So Discovery owns Animal Planet and, of course, Discovery and lots of other networks, ID, things like that. So we have access to all this different programming that we never had access to before.
Sure, yeah.
So we got permission to switch to the Animal Planet. They had like a Bigfoot episode on.
Oh yeah, with Jack Osborne. Yeah.
Jack Osborne's Night Terror, right? We got permission to keep switching from a critical game in the Final Four to a Bigfoot episode on Animal Planet. And every time you cut to Animal Planet, to that moment, we made sure to cut to the moments in the show that were the lamest moment, where the guys are just sitting around in a forest and nothing's happening, So just to piss these guys in the bar even more, and it's just so funny. So how do we get away? How do we not get punched or get away with it? That particular punishment, I specifically requested there 2 security guards to be in the bar.
Okay.
Okay.
So
someone's going to take a swing at me.
Right.
It just happened the other day. I requested 2 security guards 1 week ago. The punishment was very simple. We were at it'll air later this year on TV. Such a simple idea, right? So we were in a parking lot of like this strip mall kind of thing where people are constantly coming in and parking the car, run in, grab something, run back out. So a lot of turnover, a lot of volume, and anytime they go into a store, a car would pull up, go into a store, then when the customer walked out of the store to go back to their car, they would catch me peeing on their car. right? And our team, our art department, rigged up this device. I had a backpack on, and it had a secret tube that went through my pants, and it came out my zipper. And when they would walk in it, they tinted it yellow,
Yeah.
So whenever people would come out, they would catch me peeing on their car, and a guy raised his fist to take a swing at me, and I backed away. I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
I could tell I was pushing the guy's buttons, and I backed away before he was able to connect. But it happens, man. But it's also hysterical. And the guy ended up signing the release. He loved it afterward. He found out that it was just, apple juice.
Well, that's what you guys do, because I will tell you that there's sometimes, especially now with the way with TikTok and Instagram and everything, everybody and their mother does like pranks, right? And and I find a lot of them sometimes just not funny and in bad taste when I'm going through Instagram. People who are just looking to piss people off, but you guys do it in such a way where you're really breaking each other's balls a lot of the times, and it does seem like, even as I mentioned that White Castle clip, where the way that you're doing it enough, at first, at the very end, the guy's getting so mad. He's so mad, but by the end of it, he's laughing because he can't. He's like, what's going on with this guy? Because you do it. You're using because for most people who are watching right now know your comedy background, your stand-up comedian, also the improv, the things. So your timing is just, how to do it in a way that it's almost like a mechanism so the guy won't kill you. It's like, hey, I'm going to make you laugh, and you did.
Yeah, I think you nailed it right on the head. Our goal is not to piss people off. Our goal is to amuse people or confuse them, to get and pull them into a weird reality where they're not going to get angry. And I think we've spent a lot of time thinking about how to stay on the right side of likability.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a typical prank show, you kind of feel bad for the people getting pranked. I don't think we're a prank show at all. I think we're a hidden camera show.
Yeah,
but the joke is on us, not on the not on the mark. Punishments, of course, go further than a typical challenge. But that's our job as comedians, is to make sure we stay likable to the home audience and also to our own beliefs and morals. There are lines I simply will not cross as a gentleman, and that's the right way to do the show.
Have you run into that though, Murr, when people when you guys, I'm sure it's like there's like a room when you guys are talking about the things that you're going to do, and has there been a few times where you're like, no, and they're like, you got to do this, and you're like, I'm just not doing it. There's no way I can do it.
I mean, it happens all the time. I think the fact that we're friends for so long. We went to an all boys Catholic high school, like you.
Yeah.
I met the guys literally day one of high school and became best friends with them. Wow. So I think that is the secret sauce of the show. I know exactly how far I can push Sal. I know exactly how far Q will go and not go. We just know each other's limits. So it doesn't really happen that we push too far, because we know what we'll do and what we do well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that and that's why it plays. And, I think you're 100% right when it comes to it. That doesn't feel like a prank show. It does feel like the hidden camera fun, because it feels like even afterwards I've seen footage, and I love seeing that footage where the people that are in it are let in on it afterwards too, and they see it. Like, did you wind up talking to that guy at bringing up the White Castle guy? There was the couple, I guess. The couple was the one that I thought the guy was going to back into you at one point.
So the funny thing about the couple, it was outrageous. It was so funny. I mean, the girl trying to get out of the car and the guy grabbing her by the waist belt to pull her back in. And then she's screaming at me that you're white, or when I called her a Karen, it's so funny.
It's the way you propped up your body, and you're like, move it, and you're like, it's like this microphone that you're getting into that doesn't exist. It's absolutely, dude, it was killing me. It was killing me.
And then you win them over because the guys told me to start dabbing, behind them.
And Roy's like, stop doing it. Roy goes, stop. As your friend, I'm telling you, stop doing it now.
And so the woman in the car started recording me. And so afterward, thank God, the guy in the car was actually in the police academy. He's trained to be an officer. So that's what kept him from coming out and beating the living hell out of me,
Yeah.
He didn't want to get in trouble and ruin his chances of becoming a cop. Thank God. But afterward, they were laughing hysterically. And then when I came close and the guys came out, they're like, holy shit, it's the Impractical Jokers.
Oh, that's great.
And then we got their footage from the girl's cell phone to cut into the episode because it was I wanted her point of view of what I look like.
Amazing.
The rear window.
It was amazing. And so that basically is how it will go down, like where you guys will do it. And then afterwards you have to have people sign a release. So the producer or somebody will flag them down and say, hey, this is what it's all about. And the Impractical Jokers like, oh shit. Yeah. And then most of the time they sign away. You can always see the ones that don't because their faces are blurred out.
Yeah, it's so funny. The show is as difficult to make now as it was day one 14 years ago, because to this day, we're still trying to talk people that do not know Impractical Jokers into being on Impractical Jokers,
right,
you know?
Right.
Like, just like day one of shooting in 2010. So, because if you know the show, you can't be on the show. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it still is difficult. But what we have going for us now that we didn't in the past was that even if they don't know the show or have never seen the show, they've heard of the show.
Right.
Because it's been in pop culture for so long. And inevitably, they have a friend that loves the show, or their kid loves the show, or their nephew or niece loves the show. And we say, do me a favor, call your boyfriend, call your girlfriend, call your wife or husband, because someone knows and loves the show.
Right.
I think there's like two types of people in the world: people that love Impractical Jokers and people that have never seen Impractical Jokers. It's
everywhere now. It's everywhere, and I'll tell you. And even because, as I mentioned, with social media, that's where I watch the show in general, but I see it even more now because of the scroll, and I stop, and now my algorithm has you guys all over it because it's the one thing that I don't feel guilty about watching, because I'm always laughing my ass off. And the clip that keeps coming up that I love so much, I don't remember what season it's from, is when you're on that, you're zipping around in that meeting, and you pull on that, what is that thing? Whatever it was that you have, you just start taking off on your chair, and I think Sal just loses it. He can't take it.
So that is, you're going back to maybe season 7 or so.
Yeah.
So I was on a plane and traveling on tour with the guys. And you remember back in the day when Sky Mall was a thing, the magazine, right?
Yeah.
So I'm looking through Sky Mall, and I see an ad for this motorized luggage.
That's what it was.
It's called the Moto Bag.
That's what it was.
I was like, what the hell? So I pull up a video on YouTube on the Moto Bag, and it's luggage you sit on, you pull the handle up, and you can zip through JFK Airport like an idiot, right? And I was like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. If I ever saw this in nature, I would lose my shit.
Yeah.
So I reached out to the company. I was like, hey, I have an idea for Impractical Jokers. Can you send me one? Because the thing is like $2,500.
Yeah.
I'm not going to buy one.
Right.
Can you send me one? I have an idea of what I want to do against the guys on the show to make them laugh. And they did. They sent me one. Lovely people. They sent me one. And then we filmed the challenge. We're all in the waiting room. And to make Sal laugh, I had luggage in the room. To make Sal laugh, I said, excuse me, do you know where the restroom is? And so I pointed in the direction, and I sat on my luggage, pulled the handle up, and I zipped out of the room.
It was my favorite.
Lost his shit. Right?
I would have loved it.
After we filmed the challenge, aired on TV, it became a fan favorite moment.
Yep.
The company then, rightfully so, said, hey, hysterical, great, can you send us the bag back? But I never did.
Oh, I was going to ask you, do you still have it?
It's in my house right now. Sometimes when we get really drunk, and I'll probably bust it out this weekend. We're having a party this weekend, right? When I get really drunk, to make people laugh, I'll zip down the hallway. They won't know what's coming. So like, you sit in the living room, there's like a doorway in the living room, and I'll just go flying by the doorway on the Moto Bag.
It's the best. It's the best. I every time I've seen that, I can't even tell you how many times I've seen that clip, and I just watch it all the time. It kills me. I love that clip. So yeah, and they try to get it back, all the free advertising that they got.
But I just stopped responding to them.
Yeah, rightfully so. All right, you know what stinks? When you're stuck in a loop of rent payments, you're just watching your money vanish into thin air. It's the worst. It's time to turn the rent game around and start earning some serious rewards. How do you do that? That is where Built Rewards comes in. Built is breaking ground as the first rewards program that hooks you up with points on your rent. Doesn't matter, even if you're rocking the old school rent check vibes, Built Rewards, it's got your back. They're going to mail the check for you. It's like basically having a personal rent paying assistant. It's the best. Every month, you pay your rent and you watch the points roll in. Use points to jet off on a dream vacation. Put your points towards a flight or a hotel stay with 500 plus airlines and 700,000 plus hotels and properties. Pay rent hassle-free through the Built Rewards app. Your rent game just got a major upgrade. Earn points by paying rent right now when you go to joinbuilt.com/bigthing. That is joinbilt.com/bigthing. So use our URL so they know that we sent you. That's joinbuilt.com/bigthing. Start earning points with your rent payments today. And I got to tell you about AG1. You guys know AG1. I mean, if you've been listening to this show long enough, you know that I love AG1. And people keep asking me. They notice. John even said when I started, new look, 20 pounds I lost. One of those reasons, AG1 became part of my routine. Because for a long time, I wasn't paying attention to what was going on in my body. It just wasn't. For me, I read labels. I verify that everything is up to the quality I need. And that is why I've stayed with AG1 for as long as I have. It is a research-backed foundational nutrition supplement, and it delivers daily nutrients, gut health support, and is backed by multiple research studies, so you can trust what you're putting into your body. Because I like coffee. I used to drink so much coffee to keep up, but I don't need it anymore, not as much, because after drinking AG1, I have realized that I have all this energy and I need less coffee to power my day. It turns out I'm not alone. Because in a research study, 91% of people noticed they needed less coffee after 60 days of drinking AG1. 97% of people in a research study felt more energy after 30 days of drinking AG1. That's crazy. 91% of participants noticed that they need less coffee after 60 days of drinking AG1. That's me. Energy is a majorly important reason why it comes to I need so much energy for parenting. I can tell you that right now. AG1 contains ingredients to sustain energy so you can be the best version of yourself within each day. And it really has worked for me, and it's helped me on the plane, everything. It's easy, it's satisfying to start your journey with AG1. If you go to AG1 and you can get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase, you got to go to drinkag1.com/bigthing. drinkag1.com/bigthing. It's the one product I trust to support my whole body health. It's AG1. I want to jump back a little bit into, the formation of it all. You mentioned you met the guys in high school, and that in itself is the dream, right? You look at like what Adam Sandler has done. You look at like what you guys have done, being able to work with your friends and being able to, because everybody has, I'd love to be able to do this with my friends and to do that. But you guys have created like a phenomenon together and being able to do this. And as I mentioned to you in the beginning of this, and how you mentioned, no, of course I'm not tired of doing this, the best job in the world, and yet get to do this with your buddies. So let's start from the beginning, man. Like, so you meet these guys, and you grew up in Manhattan? Or no, Staten Island. Staten Island.
I grew up in Staten Island.
Staten Island, right? Okay.
And went to high school there. I went to grammar school, high school there. Then we did improv together in high school.
Okay.
And loved working together. And then we went to different colleges.
Right.
And I continued to do improv in college. And when we all graduated college, I think, Sal and I were commuting to the city, taking the ferry, and ran into each other. And I told him that I was still doing improv and comedy, and he loved comedy. And he said, well, why don't we get together and start practicing, rehearsing? And so we did. We started meeting in Joe Gatto's basement in Staten Island, his mom's basement, and rehearsing. And we started rehearsing 3 times a week for 3 hours. It was wild. And we did that for months and months and months before we ever started performing together back in like 2000 and or 1999, I guess.
Yeah.
And then we started doing improv and sketch comedy. We would produce our own shows. And then we started filming our sketch comedy when YouTube came around in like 2006 or 2007. And then along the way, I got a job in TV development. So for years, for like 10 years, I ran development for the company that to this day still makes Impractical Jokers.
Oh, wow.
And so my job was just to create and pitch and sell TV shows for a long, long time. And then the guys and I created Impractical Jokers. We shot a sales tape on it. I set up the meetings through my job. I pitched it with the guys, and that was it. And then,
but wait, jump back to that for a little bit, because you say because if you're working at that company, you guys are talking and saying, okay, we're back together again, kind of doing our thing, and you've got this job, and you probably have at one point come up with the idea and say, look, why don't we try to do this? And I could probably take it to this company if we put it all together. Like who comes up with the idea to say, hey, let's try to do this pilot, let's try to shoot this? How does that come about? Because there's so many people, especially today, dude, with the people that are shooting stuff all the time. I'm sure this is a huge inspiration to them.
Yeah, it was a calculated move. We'd sold shows before. Like I had sold an improv comedy show to A&E,
Okay.
which kind of launched my TV career. And then the guys and I sold a sketch comedy show based on our friendship and our life to Spike TV when I was around.
Yeah.
Shot a pilot, didn't go to series. The A&E show, shot a pilot, didn't go to series. So, and then along the way, I'd gotten my job in TV development. And somewhere around 2010, I started hearing like whispers from networks that they were interested in hidden camera again. Like, was there a new twist on the format? And it was around that time that like Punk'd got rebooted with Justin Bieber as the host. And there was another prank show came out on, I can't remember what network at this point, but it was coming back. Like networks were looking for something new in the hidden camera space. And so like MTV asked for it, Comedy Central asked for it. True was interested in that male prank space.
Yeah.
And so just from, doing my job, I'd kind of heard this intel from different networks. And so the guys and I got together, and Gatto and I were living together in Manhattan at the time.
Yeah.
We couldn't afford to live apart.
Right.
We were living it was him, me, and his now wife living in a 700 square foot apartment.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
There was one sink, one bathroom. He didn't even have a bedroom. There was like a little small room.
Yeah.
With no doors, no electric in it. It was like a closet, right?
Yeah.
We ran an extension cord from the hallway into that room and made that into his bedroom. Totally illegal. No windows in the room. Right.
Right.
The typical Manhattan apartment.
100%. Yeah.
The guys and I got together at Gatto and I's apartment, and I was like, hidden cameras coming back. What if we come up with some kind of format? I think I can sell it. And so what we didn't like prank shows where like you feel bad
Right.
Intrinsically for the person getting pranked because they didn't sign up for it. They look like fools, things like that. So we're like, well, how do we spin that upside down? What's a different way to do it? What if the joke is on us and we're the ones essentially getting pranked and the public is just there to witness our embarrassment? And that twist on the format combined with really the secret sauce of the show, which is our chemistry, is undeniable. Like, made all the difference. And we went out and shot a sales tape, and Gatto and I edited it together. I think we shot it on our like flip phones. I don't even think we had iPhones yet. It was like 2009 or 10. Yeah. And then went out and pitched it. And it's so interesting. We had two offers for the show. One was, and the offers were identical financially. Yeah. Not identical in reality. So we had an offer from MTV, loved the idea, wanted to make it into a daily show. In TV, it's called a strip show. So 5 days a week. They wanted to air it. They wanted it to be a game show. They wanted to recast the guys and I. So they loved the concept, loved the ideas, did not want us in it. We would not be on camera. We would just be executive producers of the show. Okay. And it could potentially be 5 days a week, which from a TV point of view is amazing. That's what every TV developer's dream is, to sell a strip show, a daily show, because the network will order mass quantities of it. They'll order 40, 50 at a time, So on paper, that deal could be very, very lucrative if it succeeds. It's like any of these daily shows could be big money over years if it runs for years and years and years. Like you're talking 5 days a week producing a show, like any of the daily shows that are on. It's just big pots of money. So on paper, the MTV deal could be better in success, but we would not be on camera. Right. And then True TV made an identical financial offer as MTV. They matched each other. But the difference was True said, we love the concept. We want you in the show. Right. And the network exec at the time said, if you sign with us, I will make you guys the face of the network. Oh, wow. And she did not lie. Yeah, they went all in on it, and thank God it was a success, because most shows are not. And literally, it changed the entire course of True TV's history and trajectory to becoming it's what this show eclipsed the network brand in many ways.
Yeah. Well, you guys had, and that's what a Stallone Rocky moment that is too, huh? Because
and I remember driving out to Staten Island. Q was a fireman at the time, and loved his job. He was at FDNY for 8 years and had won awards and had saved hundreds of lives and loved his career. And so naturally, he wanted to sign with MTV because then he still gets to be a fireman and do what he loves. He already had his dream job, And I remember driving out to Staten Island with the contract for True TV and saying, buddy, I need you to trust me. Like, if this one goes and works, this will change the course of our lives in ways we can't even imagine, because I saw it happen on other TV shows that I sold. One of the shows that the company I worked for made was Say Yes to the Dress Atlanta, which was a spinoff of Say Yes to the Dress, the New York version. And it changed the course of those folks' lives, that from the Atlanta bridal store, and the New York bridal store, of course, changed the whole trajectory of their lives. Because in success from TV, you can launch so much. And I mean, I launched, with the guys, and I launched a worldwide tour. We're about to wrap up our 5th international tour. Of performing and doing comedy. I have 9 books out. There's all the books here.
That's cool.
I'm wearing a shirt of one of the books that comes out in 2 months.
Is that one of the horror? Is that one of the horror books?
Yeah, I've got so many out. Like the newest one, you better watch out.
Let me see.
Which is a serial killer novel. It's
cool.
Damn good. I'm wearing this because I have to do a live stream later today for the book. Autographing copies.
Where can people get that, Murr? If they want to get
the new one, you can get an autographed copy at murrthrillerbook.com.
Okay, great.
It's super easy and it's freaking great. I always wanted to write thrillers and novels.
Yeah.
And this one, my last one, Don't Move, is a creature feature novel. It's actually being shot as a movie.
Oh,
wow!
We
start shooting. Ready for this? We start shooting a movie in 5 weeks.
That's amazing. Which company's doing the movie? Are you guys producing it yourself?
We are. We
amazing.
Raised the financing for it, and we've got a great cast we're assembling. So Rob Riggle is one of the lead,
that's great.
Comedy characters in the book. Lindsay Fonseca from How I Met Your Mother.
Okay.
For 12 years on How I Met Your Mother is the female lead, and we shoot it in Missouri outside of Kansas City. It's great, man. I'm so excited.
I can tell. I love that. And I'm a little disappointed though that Dannica is not in it.
Yeah. Oh, that's not a bad idea. But she's all in on Hallmark these days.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So I don't know if she'd be. I don't know if it's in her. Her interest. I don't know if she's interested in running through the forest getting hunted by a creature.
Yeah, for those people who don't know, the reference I'm bringing up is that when we were all, you and I are around the same age, so like right around that area, we were all watching the Wonder Years, and Dannica Mckellar, obviously, as Winnie was. Everybody, mine was Alyssa Milano also.
Who was from Staten Island?
Yeah. So when you had no clue that she was going to be in the room when you walked in there.
No, so the Punisher you're referring to is, I think, one of the biggest surprises on the show in show history. Although we're going to beat it, so there's a surprise coming up on the show. I cannot tell you.
Okay.
Because we're moments from filming it.
Oh wow, you haven't filmed it yet.
It is the biggest secret on Impractical Jokers. It's a punishment that has been 5 years in the making.
Wow,
and it's finally happening. It's happening moments from now, and it's the biggest secret in show history.
Oh, you're filming it? You're filming it today, or soon?
I cannot tell you when we're filming.
Okay,
but it is being filmed very short.
Okay. I won't push you anymore on that. That's cool. I can't.
That punishment you're referring to, the Dannica Mckellar one.
Yes.
So the setup was this: the guys. I lost an episode. The guys told me that I had to compete in a bodybuilding competition. Yeah. They take me to this hotel conference room. I walk in, and there's dudes that are 10 times my size. They're warming up, greasing up, lifting weights. And in the room, they piped in the sounds of a real bodybuilding competition coming from the next giant conference room in this hotel. So I'm like, okay, this is a real thing. They strip me down. They put me in American flag Speedo. They grease my whole body. They spray tan me. They spray tan my whole body except for my face. So if you look at photos of that punishment, my head looks photoshopped on my own body, right? Because I've got a typical complexion, but my body is like weirdly orange and brown, and my nipples are round. It's just in the conference room. And I look like a twig next to these guys, right? So I'm already mortified. And there's no reason that wouldn't be the punishment because it's horribly embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
I got to get up and freaking whatever in front of judges and an audience. It's already a great punishment.
Right.
And they say, okay, Murr, your turn. I hear my name being called over the speakers. My number is being called to compete. So I walk around into the other giant conference room. And a split second before I turn the handle to walk in, I had a thought. I was like, what if there's a twist and I'm not actually walking into a bodybuilding competition? What if my family's there, my mom's there, or I don't know, they brought I have no idea, right? What if it's like something really embarrassing? And I was like, no, why would they do that? Because this is already horrible.
Right.
And I opened the door, and inside the room, there's no competition when I open the door. There's nothing. All the sounds of the competition they piped in through the speakers were fake. And when I walk in, all there is Dannica Mckellar, Winnie Cooper for 40 years, looking in a gown with her hair done, looking, gorgeous. And she was America's crush in the 80s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Certainly for men of our age was all of our collective crushes. She's sitting there in a chair waiting to be interviewed by me. She did not know what I was going to look like. She did not know.
She had no clue.
She had no clue. She knew it was Impractical Jokers. Knew it was a punishment against me. Had no idea I was walking in greased up, flexing, thinking it was a bodybuilding competition. And she also did not know the questions and did not know what to say.
Okay.
All of her answers, she improvised.
Oh, wow.
So I go there. I crawled into the corner of the room. I felt this big, right? So I immediately recognized her, and my mind was blown. I was like, how do they know her? How does she know the show?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I always go into a conversation assuming someone does not know the show, right? And why would she, And she probably lives in LA. What's she doing on 39th Street, Manhattan right now? My mind was blown on so many levels. And then the wave of embarrassment hit me of what I looked like.
Right.
And I had never met her in my life, had never spoken to her before. It was just so shocking a moment. And you can tell I stand in the corner like this. I could not.
You went back, you turned into a 12-year-old.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. And then I had to interview her. And all her answers, she improvised. And she's sharp as a tack, you know. And I went through so many emotions. I was horribly embarrassed, but at the same time, so very proud of my friends for coming up with twists.
That's what I was going to ask. I was going to ask that too, because as a producer brain going, oh, so good, so proud of you guys for doing this, and then there's the performer side going, I got to do this now. Yeah,
it's one of those moments that you just know when you're making it is an instant classic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was great. It was absolutely great. And it's one of those things where because your friends know you so well and know who to put in that situation. Like, I don't know. Like, for me, if I walk in and I'm doing what you did and Julia Roberts is there, I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can do it.
Come on.
I don't think I can do it. I have been getting really nice comments from people lately and noticing that I've been losing weight and that I've been in shape and doing all these things. And one of the reasons why is because I've been eating better, been paying attention. And one of those things I've been doing is Magic Spoon. And every time I talk about Magic Spoon, I get people right afterwards saying, I just tried it. And then that same person will follow up and go, and I love it. People love Magic Spoon because I loved eating cereal as a kid. But as an adult, you can't do it because of all the sugar, and most of the cereals don't give me the protein that I need. And I found Magic Spoon, which is really great. And it tastes very similar to my childhood favorites, but it doesn't have all the sugar, and it's got a ton of protein, and that's my snack at night. Every serving of Magic Spoon cereal, it's got 13 grams of protein, 0 grams of sugar, and 4 grams of net carbs, so you can feel good about what you're eating. So the most popular flavors are fruity and cocoa, and there's so many more. I mix the cocoa and the peanut butter personally, but they also have treats. Magic Spoon has brand new treats. They're crispy, they're crunchy, And they're an easy way to get 11 grams of protein on the go. For the first time ever, Magic Spoon treats are available in grocery stores with delicious flavors like marshmallow and chocolatey peanut butter. It's delicious. My friend Dan says, it's really delicious, Kristian. I got to try this Magic Spoon. Get $5 off your next order at magicspoon.com/bigthing. Or look for Magic Spoon in your nearest grocery store. That's magicspoon.com/bigthing for $5 off. That's Magic Spoon. Hold on to the dream. I was having a barbecue with the family, and I was going to go and went to pick up some games for the kids to play, and I was picking up cornhole, and while I was at the sports store getting it, I kept seeing Liquid IV, and more, I'm so excited that people are learning about Liquid IV because I've known about them now for a bit since they've been on the show. It's the summer. The summer is thick right now, and your favorite summer treat could be giving you extraordinary hydration. Liquid IV has refreshing summer flavors like popsicle firecracker, it's got rainbow sherbet. It hits the spot when you need transformative, hydrating relief all summer long. So I really do enjoy it. It's been nice to have it. I moved, and I live in a very humid area now, and it's great to have Liquid IV. It really is, and I love this popsicle one, so I'm showing it right now. So what you want to do is they have so many different flavors too that makes it just really, really fresh. And you can choose from their line of sugar-free flavors. They have raspberry melon, they have white peach, they have green grape. It's great. You can go to the website and you can find all of it. It keeps your wellness rituals fresh and it keeps you motivated, keeps you hydrated. So what you want to do is you want to tear, pour, live more. One stick, 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. It's powered by LIV Hydroscience, which is an optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients that turn ordinary water into extraordinary hydration. It's got 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, 8 essential vitamins and nutrients, always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. So indulge in hydration this summer with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV, but you got to use liquidiv.com and use the code BIGTHING at checkout. You get 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today. Use that promo code BIGTHING at liquidiv.com. So one of the things that I wanted to, as you were mentioning the formation of the crew and how the idea came about and how you were able to do it, you kept mentioning Joe, and I know that was kind of heartbreaking for you guys to when he left the show. When going to TBS, was there ever a meeting to say like, listen, come back for this when we're going to TBS? Has there been talks of him coming back?
I mean, he's still all of our best friends. You know what I mean? Like, I was literally texting last night because I think he's going to join us the final weekend of the tour run that we're doing. We're on our 5th tour, like I mentioned, and our last weekend of the tour is in like 3 weeks. We are playing Durham, we're playing Syracuse, Hanover, Maryland, and I can't remember what else. But so our final 4 tour dates of this run of the show, and we were texting last night. I think he's gonna surprise people and come on out for the shows. And,
I love that.
He's on stage, but still our best friend, man. It's up to him, of course. Like, I mean, he was my best man at my wedding. Yeah. Also was the officiant of my wedding. So still our best friend, and hopefully that'll happen one day.
When he left the show, was there the like obviously you wanted to have your friend's best interest and you say sure, but is there that trying to make it work at first, or just like you knew, because as friends right away, like, no, this is the best thing for the guy, it's time for him to take off? Or is there that conversation of let's try to make it work first?
Our first and most important conversations were, this is our best friend, we're concerned for him, right? It was always from that, that was our number one priority. Then after that, we were like, well, what do we do? Do we stop doing the show? But we still love doing the show. And like, I literally have the best job on the planet. Like, my job is to go to work and bullshit with my best friends and laugh all day. Mm-hmm. And we always said, like 14 years ago, if we are ever not having fun making the TV show, we'll stop doing it, Right. Because what's the point? I think what makes the show work is that you can tell, and you'll see it on tonight's episode of the show, you can tell that we're crying laughing. Yeah. When Sal falls through the chair in the job interview, I had tears pouring down my face. They had to redo, our makeup artist on set had to redo the whole thing after his turn, because it's just so effing funny, Yeah. And I literally, after that moment, I turned to Q it's not on TV. You won't see it on this moment on TV. I turned to Q. I was like, we can't do anything else. This is the funniest. This is so much fun.
Oh, I can't wait.
And so we had a moment where we're like, well, what do? Do we stop doing the TV show, but we still love the TV show and love making it? And we said, well, let's give it a shot. Let's try. Let's do what we always do, which is just go in there and try to make each other laugh and see if it's still fun. And if we still are giving ourselves permission to laugh without Joe being on the show. And we went back to work and we're still crying, laughing, and still doing really good work.
Yeah.
And then it took us a while to understand the new dynamic and to spin the format in new ways. And we tried different things. And we're also still hampered by COVID when Joe left, you know?
Yeah.
So the show was still very different. So we added some elements like bringing celebrities into episodes to try that out. And now in season 11, 12, we kind of did away with that and went back to the origins of the show.
Right.
And went back to using celebrities as we always have done, a la carte,
Right.
in moments where they fit naturally, like Dannica Mckellar, you know?
Right.
And then also the COVID restrictions got lifted from the TV show and from all TV shows, maybe halfway through season 9. And then the show really, or maybe season 10 rather, then the show really got back to what it was. And now it's back to exactly what it always was. So it took us a while to reimagine the show and to work around the COVID restrictions and then Joe leaving. But now I think it's as good as it has always been.
It's hilarious, and it's good that you guys are obviously, like you said, you guys are close. It's one of your best friends in the world, and the idea, I'm sure you, when you see him, it's like nothing ever changed anyway, too. So
no, I mean, you know, it's one of those things that there's so much history.
Yeah, of course,
you know, and there'll be so much history after the TV show.
Absolutely, and I think, and who knows when that's going to be, because you guys keep moving, and I love it. I love that it keeps moving, and the other day, as you're holding up those books, because this is a lot of times what I worked for Joel Silver for in Warner Brothers, and I actually, after I left, I had worked in the Peter Roth system and all that stuff in Warner Brothers. So when you were talking about that, it was all very familiar. And looking at how that in my job, I was working in film development that went into stand-up comedy was my thing for the Comedy Store. So a lot of people that like Adam Ray, who's been on your show, who's also is a friend, and then these different comedians that are coming in, I can relate to all of it, but it's the New York side of it that really brings me into it, because, as you said, Staten Island. I lived in Queens. I'm in Long Island now. Like it just is so. It's just such a different way of like my wife, who's from L.A. Well, born in Ithaca, but L.A. For the most part of it. She loves and relates to New York people, because you get this thing that I think is unfair, that New Yorkers are, whether it's rude or just not the people everybody's angry. It's not the case. It's like, I moved here, man, and like everybody is super nice, fast paced, but hello, how are you? What's going on? And it's just such different vibe. And it reminded me, and when I watch you guys, I have that vibe, but I also have that vibe of just, I don't know, it brings me home when I watch the show. It really does.
That's good, man. Yeah, I think New York is the a character in the show for sure.
It is for sure. And then, but I bring that up also because what I turned that into with the film production, everything. I started a YouTube channel with movie reviews, television stuff. Hence how the Fandango job came about. And as you're talking about your novels and you're looking into the show, like what is growing up? What are some of your big film influences, comedy influences, things that, because I'm assuming you were a big kind of movie TV guy kind of growing up.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I love horrors. I love thrillers. My favorite movies growing up were like, Terminator, Terminator 2, Aliens.
Nice. Are you going to see the new one, Romulus?
I'm excited to see it.
Yeah.
It doesn't open yet. It's not open for what?
It's open in about 2 more weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited. The new trailer looks freaking great.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for all the movies. And so I loved sci-fi, horror, thrillers. I loved comedy, of course. My favorites are Airplane, Naked Gun. So we're like heavily influenced by the Zucker brothers, which is why David Zucker's been on the show. Literally, one of my most prized possessions is right behind me. Let me show you. So, one second. Oh, God, get off the wall. So on my wall at my wedding 4 years ago. We one of the coolest things about Impractical Jokers is that we became friends with the Zucker brothers.
Yeah, that's cool.
Right? And who are idols of ours and dear friends with David Zucker. And so I invited him to our wedding, and he came. And my wedding vows actually started and ended with airplane jokes.
Really?
So he's in the audience. He's in the audience amongst family and friends. And I started my wedding vows by thanking everybody for coming, and I specifically honed in on him. I said, and also thank you, David Zucker, for joining us today. The gentleman with the briefcase of the money you requested is to your right. And he looks over, and I had a guy dressed all in black and with like an earpiece, like FBI, and he opened up a briefcase, and it was a briefcase of cash to give him.
Oh, that's so good.
Wedding, right?
Yep.
And then my wedding vows ended by me saying to Melissa, my wife, well, surely I cannot imagine a better life than one spent with you. And don't call me Shirley.
Okay.
Right? So his wedding gift to us was an original page from Airplane. This is an original autographed script page with his handwritten script notes. And it's the scene. It's from 1979, May 21st, 1979. It is an original script page that he had. And the scene is when they're on the plane. It's Elaine and Ted Stryker talking. And Elaine says to him, mostly I remember the nights when we were together. I remember how you used to hold me and how I used to sit on your face and wriggle. It's one of my most prized possessions. So I'd say the Zucker brothers, huge influence. Mel Brooks, huge influence.
Okay.
Eddie Murphy, such. That was our
How about stand-up comedians? Carlin?
Yeah, Carlin is a little before our time, I think, but love him. I would say more we're in the Eddie Murphy, Adam Sandler kind of years. Okay. I mean, a huge influence us was. Do you remember the albums Adam Sandler used to put out?
Yeah, 94.
Yeah, I mean, that's right the sweet spot for our comedic upbringing.
Yeah, see, I had the reason I brought up Carlin for me is that I maybe it was a buddy of mine who he showed me Carlin at Carnegie when I was like in the third grade. I never heard anybody use language like that before.
Yeah, of course, it's shocking for kids our age.
100%. So that was the one that got me, and watching him between him and Pryor and Kinison and all that was, and then the stuff that Sandler did in the 90s. I remember I went to Iona College my first year. Yep. And that would play throughout the hall. That whole the shampoo bottle song and all that stuff.
The shampoo bottle. Come on, man. I remember the moment I heard the song.
Yeah. Do you really?
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
I was in college.
Yeah.
It had to be.
Yeah, what year was it? It came out between 93 and 94 is when that album came out.
94, right? So I just gone to college, and I was at a party. I went to Georgetown. I was at a party as a freshman. And somebody said, dude, you got to listen to this new song. It's I wrote it, I sang it, and they totally tricked me into thinking that they wrote the song. Yeah. And they put on the song. I was like, oh, it's actually not a bad song. You think it's real at the beginning until he gets to put a shampoo bottle on my head. I was like, what's going on?
It just kills.
And then that was my first time listening to it.
It was great. All right. Well, listen, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show, and I'm so excited. Thanks, I was so excited that you guys were able to do this. It's coming out. Practical Jokers for everybody. It came out on July 11th. There's new episodes now on TBS. You should absolutely check it out. As Murray mentioned, this is true to form. This is everything that you want from the season. It's hilarious. And thank you so much for joining me here today, man. I appreciate you.
Got it. Thanks for having me. I appreciate the time.
All right, guys. Once again, check it out and check out his books also. All that stuff is in the description. How fun was that guy? I mean, that was fun. I mean, he's exactly how I thought he would be. Just jovial dude. Like, just wants to hang out with his buddies, has the dream life, appreciates everything that he got. And for the most part, even though they're pretty fearless. I mean, they're pretty fearless. They'd probably tell you otherwise, but like you could tell. What I found about Murray while talking to him is that he really has that producer's brain, and how important it was for him to have that job of working in TV to understand, and I really was pretty inspired in the fact of the way that he looked at what was working in television at the time to say, okay, this is what I need to do. This is what I have to do. I get my buddies. I know who I can call here. Who this is what we've been doing. We've been doing these things, and I know what they're looking for, and we can nail this thing. And they did. And they just had fun. They put it out there and they did it. So it was really a blast talking to him and just kind of going over the way that some of these things worked, the bits that they've done in the past, and to talk about the new season. I love that he opened up about Joe and talked about his close relationship with him and all of that. So it was great. It was a lot of fun to talk to him. So thanks for joining me here today. As always, as I always mention, as you saw during the show, mentioned our sponsors. Please, if you want to help the show out, you want to help us get great interviews like we had today, get one of those sponsors, man. Help us out. That helps the show out tremendously. And if you want to watch the clip outs from this interview, other interviews, other things that I do, you can go to the Kristian Harloff Clips channel. Thanks for joining me here today. Thank you to Murray for joining me. Make sure you watch Impractical Jokers. All right, I'll be back here tomorrow with Mike. I don't think Steph's going to be here tomorrow, but I got Mike. So we'll see you here tomorrow.